out in the open desert.
Oh gosh, I forgot. What I remember most about this day isn't really the scenery. I remember the feeling. For the first time since we left Munich, it all felt real. Wow. Ahead of us laid nearly 2 weeks of uncertainty in my 36-year-old Mercedes W124. Looking back, it was the beginning of something much, much bigger.
Freaking see for yourself. 7,200 kilometers all the way from Munich to Morocco in a 36-year-old Mercedes-Benz, 360,000 Ks on the clock. Welcome to our overland tour, to that which I've been talking about for very many months. It's finally starting, and we're doing it with this. The official rally is starting today. We're somewhere in the middle of Spain. We've driven here over the last 2 days. It wouldn't have made much sense to make a video on that because it was just driving autobahn after autobahn, about 2,000 kilometers to get here to the center of Spain to start. And today it's really time to actually join the rest of the crew here, and we're going to tackle on the first off-road stretches. So far the Mercedes has done absolutely fantastic. Just very briefly, we've had incredible fuel economy, literally 7.5 liters per 100 kilometers on this with the off-road tires. I can't be more impressed. I'll run you through what we did. We've done this in various videos. We've changed the suspension, so those are the springs from a 300. We've got Bilstein B4s, and there we've got a skid plate at the bottom. We've got the steel rings from a T model, and that, for all intents and purposes, apart from renewing a couple of things for wear and tear's sake, has been literally everything that we've done on this car. We can't wait to do the rest of this road trip, and we can't wait to share it all with you, Marcus and myself. So I think before we start, let's walk through and I'll show you some of the other crazy cars that we actually have here. Standing there at the accreditation and introducing the Mercedes and all the small modifications that we'd made before the departure, I wasn't exactly sure whether we were being brave or simply naive. But when I spotted a Porsche 996 Carrera 4, the one belonging to Klaus, on chunky off-road tires and with a roof tent, that just made me smile. Maybe we weren't the only ones making questionable decisions after all. And then came an old Citroën 2CV panel van and an old VW Beetle, cars that kind of felt like they had even less business of being there than we did. But it really was about believing in this adventure. Some people had come with their highly capable four-wheel drives and SUVs, and that is really 100% okay. But others kind of arrived in cars that seemed completely unsuited to the task, and that very much included us. Now, we are not driving alone. Apart from all these beautiful individuals with all the exceptional cars, and I'm so excited to see how these cars are going to perform on this rally. That's the idea with Off the Beaten Track. Not necessarily to come with the biggest, most capable 4x4, but actually to take a car that perhaps isn't 100% suited for this kind of environment and see how far you actually get. This is our team of friends from Bayern. Ja, is Jackel and Benny. Sag servus. Servus. And this year they've got a Mercedes, brainwashed already with that. A 530 diesel. And the thing is that Jackel made sure that he raised the suspension very nicely. Just before we start the rally, he wanted to make sure you can get over all the sticks and stones.
We have a little problem with it's too much.
Some of the roads are so gnarly that they said best not to go about them alone. We're not allowed to actually go alone, because if you get stuck or roll down the mountain, like something's happened to some people, then there's nobody to help you.
long stretches of motorway soon disappeared behind us, and the roads began to twist their way through the hills, almost like strands of spaghetti that were thrown across the landscape. Curves and hairpins. The temperatures were still soaring, and the tarmac kind of had that shimmer of heat on it already. I really felt like the old Merc was being asked to work just a little bit harder there. Not so much acceleration and power as much as the suspension going around bends and the tires on that hot tarmac and also the brakes. At this point, it was already becoming obvious that replacing the front discs and the brakes and also changing the brake fluid was probably one of the better ideas that we had before the rally. Do you know what I really love about these journeys? Is the fact that they baptize you into like a completely different reality. You leave home thinking that you're going to be traveling through a certain country, but what you really end up traveling through are countless small worlds, each with their own rhythm and their own people and their own culture and their own stories. And perhaps the greatest part of all of it is the fact that you can share those moments with the people that you love and care about. Benny was kind enough to grab the camera and offered to do some car-to-car camera shots. And this was really cool because it was the first time that we could see some proper rolling shots of the old Mercedes in action. What I didn't notice though when I watched those recordings now was the loud noise coming from the BMW. And it wasn't the engine, it was the viscous fan. It was so loud, it sounded like there was a plane getting ready to take off. Later when I asked Jacob what on earth was going on, why is it so loud, he just said, well, he didn't have time to replace the viscous coupling and so he just bolted it together and it was on permanently. I suppose that's one of the ways of doing it. We eventually arrived at this really beautiful lake. Man, it was amazing. It wasn't just a pretty lake, it was an opportunity to actually wash ourselves. For the first time in days, we were able to clean ourselves a little bit from the motorway kilometers and the lack of sleep and the dust that have gathered with the sweat and wearing the same clothes for just about longer than any human actually should. We've just found the lake. And this means at the same time, it's time for us to actually have a shower. My goodness. 3 days, boiling freaking hot, and time to get into the water. Oh. So hopefully the camera is not too wide anglish. Oh, this is gonna be good. Oh. Oh. I'd love to tell you about we've just gone through this town and through that town, but you're so busy driving that quite frankly very often you don't get a chance to check what the names are of the towns. And I love doing this for the in the moment experience, for stuff like this, being in the middle of a lake somewhere. And check that, we've got the cars standing here on the beach, so to say. It was a really memorable moment, parking the cars close to the water and realizing where we actually are and with what we actually came here. The next thing waiting for us was something that kind of would become one of the defining features of the next 2 weeks, and that is dust. Lots and lots of dust. At that time, we didn't have any idea just how much we would become friends with dust and sand over the next couple of weeks. One thing that we learned very quickly during the journey was the fact that in most remote places, you never really are truly alone. You'd think you are, but hidden somewhere amongst the hills would always be a shepherd or a herd of sheep, or a lonely farmhouse, or some camels, or children, or a donkey. A reminder that life somehow finds a way in even the most unexpected corners of the world. As the afternoon faded slowly towards evening, the roads became dustier and the horizon softer. The clouds of dust hanging behind the cars seemed to linger a bit longer and longer in the air still. Much of that dust was generated by none other than Jacob in his 530 diesel. That car was slowly becoming something of a weapon out there. With his nearly 200 diesel horsepower, nearly 400 Newton meters, we understand why. But he was driving it through the landscape with a level of commitment that we were finding both impressive and a little bit alarming, to be honest.
It's a bit dusty, isn't it?
It was very entertaining to watch, and I'm sure there was a lot of fun for Jacob and for Benny. But somewhere in the back of our minds, we couldn't help but shake the idea that that BMW was actually a little bit too low for this. At the pace that Jacob was driving, it really only needed one badly placed rock in the middle of the road that he would hit at the bottom under hard braking. We knew that one impact against the oil sump and their rally could be over before it had actually really begun.
We are nearly done with one of the first stages, first day off-road section, and it's just been incredible. Check this fantastic team with which we on the road, the Land Rover, which is running well again, the BMW 530 turbo diesel, and then of course Opa Gerhard, that is just doing a fabulous job. The suspension, everything's running so well. I can't believe that we're actually doing this with this old Merc, and it's, yeah, the whole time when we're driving we're thinking, we can't believe this car is doing this so well. It's doing this so well. It's doing this so well. Super stoked, super thankful. It's just such a great experience. It is everything we hoped for, and it's nothing that we feared for. Enough for day one. Thank you again to Wildeveldt for helping with sponsoring and being a part of this journey. And yeah, we're just really stoked. This has been a fantastic first day. We'll see you in the next one. Until then, tomorrow, second stage in Spain, and then we're off to the ferry. Next day, Morocco.
Sleeping in the car, day 3.
Diverse pieces of material hanging from the bottom of Jacob's car. We are about to get on the ferry. See you on the road.